50 years ago, on May 24th, 1976, a Paris wine tasting organized by Steven Spurrier and Patricia Gustad-Gallagher rocked the wine world, energized American wine writers, and established Napa Valley as one of the premier wine regions on the planet. This tasting has come to be known as the Judgment of Paris. To celebrate the 50th anniversary of this event, the IWFS Americas Inc. curated a set of red and white wines from California and France that could be shipped around the United States. Members from coast to coast gathered with their friends to evaluate these wines in blind tastings. The scores are being gathered and will be released in early July. Though we did not have the exact wines of the original tasting served here today, they are a great representation of the wines at the original tasting. The judges today are tasting these wines blind and are scoring them on a 20-point must-scoring system, the same as the IWFS branches across the country. We've just completed the tasting of white wines. That was a fun tasting. I mean, I enjoyed that. I guess the way I want to open this up, I want to ask you about the original Judgment of Paris. In what way is this tasting similar to that, and in what way is this going to be different?
Yeah, I think it's a super exciting tasting comparing two giants of the world of wine. I think the only similarity these days is just comparing France versus America, but like winemaking, farming, the whole world of wine I feel like is so different 50 years later, so fun to come back to one of the iconic moments in the history of wine and see how these glasses behave.
And what are we having?
Okay, so this was obviously the first flight. It was a flight of whites. So we have the 2023 Domaine La Tour Giraud Pouligny Montrachet Champ Canet Premier Cru, 2023 Domaine La Tour Giraud Merceau Genévrier Premier Cru, 2023 Domaine Paul Pillot Chassagne Montrachet Premier Cru Clos Saint-Jean, the 2021 Hansel Vineyards Chardonnay from Sonoma, 2024 Kistler Vineyard Chardonnay from Sonoma Mountain, and the 2023 Chateau Montelena Chardonnay from Napa Valley.
Jonathan, what are we looking for in these wines?
I think first and foremost we're finding joy in the glass, right? Wine makes us happy and wine is fun, so I'm just hoping everybody has fun here and no one's feelings get hurt in the tasting. But I think when you're looking at great modern Chardonnay, it's kind of this balance of perfect fruit ripeness with kind of the line of process that Chardonnay is, with great lees work, great oak, kind of the right touch of mallow to it. So fun to see a great variety that requires a lot of technical skill to make, but also some great farming skill to enjoy. What do you look for when you enjoy Chardonnay?
I like the freshness. I like the crispness, which sometimes you just don't get. Here I found all these to be crisp.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Chardonnay, I definitely look for the freshness, the acidity, the crispness. I'm not a big fan of very oaked Chardonnays for sure, but I think none of these have those notes, which is great. But yeah, it's just, and Chardonnay is so versatile. So it just pairs with so much, and it's just one of those great wines.
Yeah, I think what's funny about Chardonnay is it is like inherently such a boring grape variety. Like it is this neutral grape variety that is a blank canvas for the winemaker to paint kind of whatever they like. And to me, a lot of great Chardonnay reminds me of like a lot of Agnes Martin artwork, where it's like, how pretty can you make this white canvas with this little touch of gray and little touch of blue? And I think like the oak really plays that role of like that little touch of color that makes the things more interesting.
Yeah, it's so versatile. That's what I really like about Chardonnay. Even though, to your point, yes, it is a boring grape, and everybody you have Chardonnay everywhere. But I think that's that's what's kind of fun to see what the winemakers actually do with it.
Come on, let's get to the important stuff. I was up all night last night on FanDuel because of the Knicks, and I noticed that the French were a 1.5 point favorite here today. How are you betting on this?
I think I'm looking at the tasting separately, kind of white wine versus red wine, and I think for me, maybe in the white wine camp, it's a little bit more of a, I don't know who I'd bet on. In the red wine camp, I'm going to put my money on Napa. So we'll see how that all shakes out. And, I'm not exactly a betting man, but we'll see how that goes. What are you betting on here?
Ooh, I'm not a betting person. So I'm probably not betting on anyone. I mean, I just want, the best wine to win. And if, the American wines stand out from the French, then great. 50 years later, we're still going strong. So
I took the Knicks and the Americans as a parlay. So let's get to the juicy stuff. Wine number 1.
Yay! I give it a 16.5.
I give it a 15.
Ooh.
Kistler.
Okay.
Kistler's wine number 1.
Okay.
But I feel like Kistler is such an outstanding historic winery, and I think in this era of the winery right now, they're kind of finding their footing under kind of new winemaking teams, but I do think like there's some iconic parcels here that they utilize to make their wines.
This is what I'm particularly familiar with because we actually have a lot of Kistler.
Okay.
And
What did you
since-
rate it?
I rated a 17.5, but
Okay.
again, my scores aren't going to count in this.
And like these age so well. Like
Yeah.
mid 2000s Kistler is like some of my favorite
Really?
favorite
Yeah,
stuff
honey
to
tastes.
enjoy.
Yeah. Okay, let's go wine number 2.
Wine number 2. I give it a 20.
Boom.
And Simon Cowell came in with a 16
I
right now.
know. I saw your paper. I was like, wow, he's given it a 16. I give it a 20.
And that is
Oh,
Hensel.
California.
California.
There we go. Woohoo.
So, what do we know about Hensel?
I mean, one of the iconic wineries of America, like one of the oldest producers of Pinot and Chardonnay, some fun, diplomatic relations that start the winery, but kind of both these friends in the southern but mountainous area of Sonoma making very classic styles of Chardonnay.
Okay. I've actually never had their wines before.
Yeah, these also age insanely well, and like the
Really?
Pinots from Hensel are life-changing.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
I give it 17. Number 3.
I gave it a 17.
I was a 16 as well here.
Man, Jonathan, you're harsh.
And it is Montelena.
Ooh, Montelena.
Montelena, of course, was the reigning champ from the Judgment of Paris in 1976. Any thoughts?
You don't have Mike Gergich making the wines anymore. So it won when he was the winemaker.
Yeah, I think what's kind of interesting about this, especially kind of comparing the 50-year difference, is like the clonal material that's in the vineyard's different, the winemaking style is a bit different. But at the end of the day, I think with these first 3 wines, like why I'm kind of the Russian judge right now is I think they're all still a little like clunky in finding themselves. So I'm excited to see how these evolve in the bottle and hopefully pick up more character in life as they age.
The Americans were first, and no winners yet from Jonathan's perspective.
Bottle number 4.
17.
This was my 20. This
Whoa.
was like, this blew me away.
I gave it 18.5. It was my second favorite. This is
Oh, Merceau.
Merceau Genevière. I wish I had.
Genevière. Genevière.
We'll take care of that in post-production.
Yeah, I mean, looking, Genevière or the juniper bushes, like I think one of the most iconic vineyards in all of Burgundy, and one of those vineyards that's in the trifecta of Merceau Premier Crus, it probably should be a Grand Cru site, and I think this wine just performed at that level.
Well, you can see by my glass, I went back and forth on this one quite a bit.
I was debating between 2 and 4, but then, yeah.
So, wine number 5.
I gave it a 16 and a half.
I'm a 18 and a half here.
Clearly the French won you over.
Et voila,
Which one is
the
that?
Chassagne Montrachet.
Ah, Chassagne Montrachet. Very nice.
What's fun is for me kind of between 4 and 5, like one of these was going to be my 20-point wine, and I think like 4 kind of lured me in more on the nose, but the palate of 5 is outstanding, and like this vineyard site is like very controversial to me, because back in 1855 when Jules Laval raided the vineyards of Burgundy, Clos Saint Jean was considered an insanely high-level red vineyard. So kind of funny that after they appended Montrachet to the village, a lot of these traditionally red grape variety vineyards were flipped over to Chardonnay, but
I
still a couple of Clos Saint Jean Pinots that to me are insanely delicious.
Okay.
And finally, last but not least, if you're keeping score at home, this was my 20-point wine. It is the Pouligny Montrachet.
Yeah. I gave it a 17.
I'm a 17 as well. Look, our
Oh,
scores finally aligned.
Yay! Finally, I matched with the song. Just out of curiosity, Jonathan, I just wanted to know. So, I mean, we have a Chassagne Montrachet, we have a Pouligny Montrachet. What's the difference necessarily between these? Is it more just like the area, the terroir, or is it also winemaking styles?
Yeah, I feel like when you look at the Côte de Beaune and look at the white wine producing part of it, it's kind of like Manhattan, where you go from like Merceau to Pouligny to Chassagne, and like kind of as you work your way down, you start on kind of the Upper West Side with all of its like character and pizzazz and like kind of weight and power, which is Merceau. Then you kind of come a little bit further down, you're in kind of like Columbus Circle, Billionaires Row, and that to me is Pouligny Montrachet of like the tension and focus. And then you kind of come a little bit further down and it's Midtown and everyone's there. And I think kind of Chassagne is such a diverse village in its style. It's,
I
it
see.
has over 40 Premier Crus. It's a village that I think is like hard to contextualize as one place. So definitely the white wine producing portion of the Côte de Beaune is just Manhattan.
Okay, never heard it put that way, but I'll keep that in mind.
And Jonathan, I guess to close out the white, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is a really fun tasting to do because both of these corners in the world have changed so much in 50 years. And to me, like, Burgundy is in an interesting point of its history where it needs to kind of change or die. And like with vintages getting warmer, seasons getting shorter, it's really kind of up to these producers to kind of hold on to the style of wine that they make, but evolve it ever so slightly. And I think seeing a vintage like 23 and these producers have a lot of hot and dry vintages under their belt now, like you can see they really know what they're doing compared to say when you try like the 18s and the 19s that I find, you know, still clunky and scary, but like a lot of freshness, a lot of vibrancy, and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So let's go to the reds. Okay, pencils down.
Okay, so we had a really good white wine flight tasting, I thought. We're on to the reds now. The wines that we're tasting for the reds are 2016 Chateau Rosan Segla from Margaux, 2018 Chateau Opaï from Pessac-Léognan, 2019 Chateau Léoville Barton from Saint-Julien, 2021 Mayacamas Cabernet Sauvignon from Mount Beader, Napa Valley, 2018 Heights Wine Cellars Cabernet Sauvignon Trailside Vineyard, Napa Valley, and 2023 Ridge Vineyards Estate Cabernet Sauvignon. Jonathan, question for you. So Heights, Ridge, and Mayacamas were all invited to the original Judgment of Paris tasting 50 years ago. How do you think these winemakers have evolved, or the wines have evolved over the years?
Yeah, what's so cool about the Judgment of Paris is Napa was such a nascent region, and even within the 70s, so many more wineries opened in Napa. So here you're seeing some of the original producers of the region, but just like everyone else, they've grown over the years and have really come into the modern era in a beautiful way.
What do you think it's taken for them to evolve and kind of maintain their quality and their standards? You know, it's been 50 years, winemaking techniques have changed. How do you think that sort of changed? I mean, maybe not for these three guys in general, but maybe just for Napa Valley.
I think as a whole, kind of Napa Valley changes every 25 years. So 50 years ago at the Judgment of Paris, you've seen Napa Valley change twice now, which is so cool. And I think this specific era of Napa is so focused on a sense of place with heritage clones of Cabernet and just like very well balanced winemaking. So I think it's really fun to have this comparative now more than ever, because I think stylistically both regions share more in common than ever, right? Like when you compare it to the 70s, kind of both regions were in very different trajectories, and kind of like Napa took a swing at a region that was kind of falling down and woke them back up. So really cool to compare these side to side with some very classic producers.
Awesome.
Napa, Napa, Napa. All we're talking about is the American guys. What's changed with the French winemakers over the same period?
I mean, they figured their stuff out. Like the 70s in Bordeaux is such a dark time, like a lot of bad winemaking, a lot of lost vintages, a lot of challenging years, and kind of Bordeaux gets their wake-up call in 76 of like, hey, you've lost your step. And then with kind of the vintages in the 80s, especially like 82, 85, 89, kind of Bordeaux found money again and found excitement again and really cleaned up what they do.
And also, I mean, if we were to do the Judgment of Paris today, if you were a wine merchant in Paris trying to interest people in this, would Mayacamas, Ridge, and Heights be the wines you'd represent Napa with?
I think a really cool comparative is like when you come and visit New York City, right? There's so many different art museums, and like I think looking at these three wines is like going to the Met and going to the Old Masters section. And like, is that the best way to compare wine today? Like, I think you might need to go to MoMA and kind of maybe pick out the wines of like Harlem, the wines of Beta, the wines of Colgan, maybe some fun things like McDonald from the Valley Floor. I think these might be the people that represent the modern era of Napa versus kind of these are definitely the old masters of that region.
Nicely put. I've got a bit of bias here. Raisin Segla was my wedding wine.
Oh, wow. Did you get married there as well?
No, we got married here in New York with the old masters.
What vintage?
The 85.
Oh, wonderful. Very nice.
So, you guys ready for the reveals?
Yeah. Jonathan and I have made different points.
Well, let's start with wine number 7.
Perfect. I gave this a 16.5.
This is my 20.
Like two
Opening
extremes.
strong.
Two extremes. What did you
That
give
is-
it, Chris?
I gave it a 17.
Okay.
Mayacamas.
Oh, fun.
Okay, I see. Look at you. All right.
20 points. What do you
20
like about this guy?
I just love how well balanced it is. I think this has everything that's delicious about Cabernet. It has that perfectly ripe black fruit, that like kiss of green tea and cut grass. But then structurally, it is so weightless but powerful at the same time. And I think to me, when Cabernet is made properly, it's almost like a medium plus bodied wine. And it is kind of this like NFL running back that's like big and strong and burly, but like can still juke out the defenders along the way. And this wine definitely does that.
Nice.
What earned it a 16.5 for you?
I don't know. I felt the tannins were a little bit rough for me on the palate. I mean, I love the aromas. I think the aromas were exactly in line with what you were talking about, but it just felt like it needs a little bit more time for me to just kind of feel a little bit smoother. So yeah, I mean, I could have probably given it a 17, but you know, just with 6 wines, I was like, okay, something's got to give. But it's a very good wine. I mean,
So let's go to wine number 8.
all right, I gave it a 17.
I'm an 18 here.
Again, very positive. This is my number 20.
Woo!
Ooh,
Heights.
Heights.
Heights
Ooh
2018.
la
I
la.
would not have guessed that.
I think what's also really fun about this vineyard site is as we kind of reflect on the history of Napa and Bordeaux is Trailside is trained in a very old school style of Napa vine training called Elkhorn. So it's kind of fun to see this historic style of vineyard in a very modern, like powerful vintage in 18. Like making wineries in Napa pick your favorite child between 18 and 19 is like, it's something you're not allowed to do because both vintages are insane.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's an Elkhorn style?
It's kind of like you train it upwards.
Like the okay, got it. So it goes this way.
Yeah.
Ah, I see. Interesting. Okay, cool.
Number 9.
I give it an 18.
I'm a 17 here.
Okay.
Pretty solid. I rated it a 17 myself.
Okay.
Leoville Barton,
Okay.
2019.
The good old chateau without a chateau.
Chateau without a chateau, yeah. The sister chateau has a chateau or something like that, right?
Yeah, they make this at Langoa Barton.
Yeah. There we go.
So we all rated this kind of in the middle.
Yeah, it kind of reminds you a lot of like in baseball, right? You need like 5 starting pitchers for your team, and this is like that third or fourth person in the
Right,
rotation.
yeah.
Like they throw a good fastball, they definitely deserve to be in the major leagues, but like they're not winning the Cy Young
They're
anytime
not.
soon. But then you need them there.
Agreed, agreed.
Leoville Barton gives you 6 innings. He has a 3.5 ERA. Not bad. Wine number 10.
I gave it a 16.5.
I'm a 15 on this one.
Ooh.
I'm a 16.5.
Okay, wow. We're all similar, like low grade.
Who loses? Obaye.
Oh
2018.
no! Aww, okay.
Yeah, I thought this just didn't have the
I
depth
like
of any of the other
Obaye,
wines.
but yeah, I don't know, it just tastes funny.
I think someone didn't clean their cellar in this wine. Like,
Well, I actually have the 2018 Obaye at home and I bought it after trying it in the chateau and
Yeah.
it was really good, otherwise I wouldn't have bought it. So.
Brettanomyces can bloom in the bottle.
I guess so, I guess so. But I was actually wondering
Yeah.
which one is the Obaye because I tasted it and I couldn't really tell, so. Ooh.
So wine number 11?
I gave it a 17.
I'm in a 15 over here.
Ouch.
Ooh, I only gave it a 16.5.
Okay.
So,
Harsh. The Ridge
the Ridge.
Estate. Okay.
Ridge Estate Cab. Actually, I'm kind of surprised. That's
Well, it still looked pretty young to me, so I figured it was one of the younger ones because the color is still not as deep.
I'd have expected a bigger everything. Bigger nose, bigger flavor, bigger mouthfeel.
Yeah, like this wine feels very like square peg round hole to me. Like the fruit wanted to be something else, but this
Yeah.
wine was made to be this wine, and you can kind of like get this nervous energy from the fruit that it's like boxed down into this leaner style
Yeah.
of wine that I don't think
Yeah,
is
we're
what
good.
this Cabernet wanted to be.
No.
If you're scoring at home, you know what's coming up.
So the Chateau Rosan Segla one
Yeah.
did it for me. That's my 20.
I went up in score. This is my 16.
That's
16.
my 20.
It was my
Okay.
18.5.
Chris, it was your wedding wine, and I scored it the highest.
Thank you.
And I didn't give it a 15, so we're good.
I really like this wine. I don't know.
I do too.
I think the reason I give it a 20, I mean, obviously it is the oldest vintage of the lot, but I think for me, it just felt really well balanced. And I think the tertiary notes were coming out really well, and I just liked it a lot.
This to me, to use internet speak, is very like an NPC wine, like a non-playable character. It's
Okay.
like someone in a video game you like talk to once and you like just kind of walk past it.
Okay.
Like it's very well made, it's very well put together, but it didn't like stop me in my tracks.
Okay.
When I was going through the first half of the flight, I was like, wow, I need to smell this again. I need to taste this again. And here it's like, I'm very happy with this wine. It's
Okay.
very good. it's very good.
It's very good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Kind of, I guess, what you were expecting. But number 7 was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. Okay, got it.
So all good tasting. None of us duped a 20 on any wine. So I guess that's good. Any further thoughts on this?
I mean, for me, I think it's just really fascinating to be able to taste some of the wines from the winemakers that were involved in the Judgment of Paris. Ever since I got into wine, I feel like the Judgment of Paris has been one of those defining moments everyone teaches you about and you learn about, and like part of tastings and courses and everything. And it's just nice to be a part of this and to be able to taste some of these spectacular wines, even with the white plate. So I really appreciate the opportunity, and I think it was real fun. And Jonathan, thank you so much for your insights. It was a lot of the comparisons that you put through, I think, were really fascinating. So with Manhattan and the Met and MoMA, and how you compare some of that stuff, I think that was pretty interesting. So thank you for that.
No, thank you both very much. I think what's so cool about this tasting, and it just kind of like goes to show how we are in the greatest era to drink wine, right? Everybody has access to try the great wines of the world, access to technology, access to education. So I think a lot of the wines you tried today are closer together than ever before. Whereas like when you go back 50 years ago, like no one was sending carrier pigeons between Napa and Bordeaux to have a conversation
Right.
between Burgundy and California. So it's very fun to see how they're aligned in a lot of their ideals in farming and winemaking, but the wines are still so authentically of where they're from, which is so cool. So thank you all so much for
Yeah.
putting together such a fun
Our pleasure.
tasting.
Of course. Chris, what about you? Before you end, what did you think?
I love these wines. I think every one of these wines in this flight could have anchored a dinner. You don't have bad wines anymore. That's just more distinct or less distinct. And these wines all were distinct. They all show terroir. We had some unfavorites, but frankly, they're all pretty damn good wines.
Yeah.
So I hope you all enjoyed this. The Wine and Food Society is doing the Judgment of Paris on a worldwide basis. We have, I think, 1,000 people doing this tasting or a tasting very similar to this. It is the biggest event that the Wine and Food Society has ever done, and I hope to see you all on the other side. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
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 With my favorite wine. Cheers.